most of you are probably looking at MLMs or have been approached by MLMs, multi-level marketing companies, and their lead system ain't fresh, ain't exclusive. There's one particular 3-letter MLM, which will go nameless because they'll cease and desist me. They literally sell you pennies on the dollar, cheap names out of a phone book equivalent. And they resell them for $10 a piece. And then they don't just sell them once, they sell them like 4 or 5 times. And so they take something that the acquisition cost to get the lead is like a quarter, probably less, and they make 50 bucks off of it. And you might be thinking, well, they're a business, Dave. They're making a lot of money. It's good for them. That's right. It's good for them, but is it good for you? The answer is hell no. You're working leads that don't know what they did, don't remember what they did, and probably never actually requested it. And so while you struggle and get frustrated throwing thousands of dollars at some system that doesn't do what it was supposed to, they're banking millions a week, millions in pure profit off of you and your ignorance. Unfortunately, this is how we all are getting started. You don't want to be in that position, guys. And this is why it's important that regardless of where you work, you're working with the leads that are fresh, that are exclusive, developed recently, never resold again. It's not the only thing, Joe, and Joe, we'll get to training because it's not just about leads. It's leads are important. But if everything else holds true and you got to work a bunch of garbage that was made years ago versus fresh exclusive leads, the guy or gal working fresh exclusively is going to make more money and probably have a higher success rate over time, have a less stress level too, because boy, it's frustrating talking to people who don't remember filling that card out back in 2015, you know, and trust me, it happens all the time. And then let's talk about this too. I think this is important. Bi-weekly, if you could briefly describe why that is so important.
Because you need to have new inventory. One of the best problems to have in this business is too many people to see. So when I was out in the field full time on a regular basis, after I bought my leads, I would have anywhere from 5 leads to 12 leads that just were not resolved. Maybe I door knocked them and they didn't answer. There might have been a chance I'd even door knock them. Did I resolve all of my leads and chase after every single one until I was done and then buy leads? No. I don't care how many leads I had unresolved. I'm going to buy leads again, because if I'm making money, who cares if I don't resolve all the leads? Right. That's why it's so important. And then here's the other thing too, is that this final expense animal, like, you're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have good weeks. It's not going to just be this consistent every week is the same numbers thing. You can look at your numbers after 3 months or 6 months and you'll see some real consistency. But the bottom line is, even if you have all your stuff together, you're going to have better weeks than others. Some week you might barely break even. You might lose money. You can't let that phase you. You need to keep buying leads. It's like any business. You need to keep having inventory. So that's why it's so important.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You just have to stay busy, right? And there are some actions that you do that aren't as effective or as primary of concern as others. And here's the thing. Yes, you could chase leads and resolve every one of those, but we know statistically that after a certain percentage of working leads, the added effort it takes to get to the remaining amount is better used on fresher leads that more likely will pick up the phone, invite you in, sit down and talk to you. So while we want to work the leads entirely, what we don't want to do is squeeze or feel like before we buy another set of leads, we got to squeeze the juice out of every last one of these. So there's an extent to where that's true, but then beyond the point, it's better just to buy fresh leads and then have a better chance to use your time more judiciously and better. So long story short, set your lead order up on a weekly recurring basis. Don't worry if you're not to the end of the list that you have. Worst case scenario, you just skip a week if you're really that busy with leads. But how often does that really happen in the business? Rarely. Usually most people have the other problem, which is too few people to see, which is what happens if you don't order on a consistent weekly basis.